Hello, my fellow speakers. This is Brian, the speaker for the dead, coming to you today with another video about Star Wars. Yeah, could you tell that was kind of faked enthusiasm? I'm sorry.
Fine.
Anyway, I wanted to cover Star Wars and some of the rumors and leaks and yada 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 blah 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 that's going on with Star Wars right now. We're about 19 days away from the release of Rise of Skywalker, and there is no shortage of videos being made out there by creators, especially in the Fandom Menace and by everybody else, with rumors and conjectures and possibilities, and I mean it just goes on and on and on. And everybody's been making 1,000 videos on every little teeny tiny detail as it comes out, and I didn't want to do that. So I wanted to take quite a few things that have happened and try and condense it down into one video, give you a quick review and give you my thoughts on what's going on and what I think is important, what I think is not important, and just, a general overview. So let's get started with the more nonsense coming out, and let's jump right into our main event. Billy D. Williams. So we all know him as Lando Calrissian from the original trilogy. He was in Empire and Return of the Jedi, and I've always thought of him as a real cool guy. Really liked him. So this article comes to us from Esquire, which is where the original interview was done. Everybody's freaking out about this, and I am too. I'll be honest here. I am too. And let me show you why. So this is a quote that comes from this article. And it's this one right here. And you see, I say himself or herself because I also see myself as feminine as well as masculine. I'm a very soft person, and I'm not afraid to show that side of myself. Okay. So, I get it. I get it. Here's my problem with this. It's stupid. Of course, you have a feminine and a masculine side. You know why? Because you had a father and a mother. I have a feminine and a masculine side because I have characteristics that I get from my mom, and I have characteristics that I get from my dad. And I was raised by these two individuals, so absolutely I'm going to get traits from both. Now, even if you are a single parent child, you're going to have those characteristics. Now, they're more pronounced, I think, in kids that have both parents, but even as a single parent or a single parent child, you look up to other males or females, depending on which is in your life more, mother or father or whatever. If the other one's not in your life, you look up to other adults, other male or female adults in your life to fill that gap and to find where you belong in the human race and find those characteristics that you want to emulate, whether it's teachers, religious leaders, friends, family, other family, uncles, aunts, somebody that you glom onto that you learn a lot about the behavior of men and women. Everybody has that. Now, most men are dominant masculine characteristics, but even the most masculine guy in the world still has feministic attributes. You're going to have them. I'm sorry. There's going to be some part of you that is more of a feminine thing, whether you admit it or realize it or whatever, that's what you are. And if you have a problem with that, you're a psycho. Here's the bigger problem. I don't need to be told this. I don't need you to try and tell me I call myself himself and herself. Because all you're doing is confusing others and yourself. I don't need you to tell me something that's obvious, that's biological. You have XX or XY. But no matter which one of those you have, you got one from your father and one from your mother. Whether you got an X from your dad or a Y from your dad to determine whether you're male or female. And yes, there's only two. There's not 1,000. There's two genders. Two. This article where he talks about this, it's like an old guy trying to be relevant. Well, what are the young people talking about? What are all those whippersnappers? I mean, what are they twitterizing about? What are they face chatting about? What I mean, tell me what I need to say to sound cool and relevant. Billy D, here's a little advice. You don't need to do this. You don't need to be this guy. You don't need to buy into the Hollywood nonsense. Now, if you are a full-fledged card-carrying idiot Hollywoodite, fine. But that's not what got you where you are. Were you a himself, herself when you were in the Batman movie with Jack Nicholson? I don't remember seeing a female, male. I don't remember him talking about it back then because it wasn't a popular thing. This is just one more thing that makes me feel like, I don't know if I want to see this movie now. And I mean, I've been struggling with this back and forth anyway, but I'm just so tired of actors trying to make themselves relevant by being idiots. The funny thing is this really wasn't what bothered me in the article. What bothered me in the article is it goes on later to say, and I'm going to scroll down here so I can kind of read it verbatim, because when he got introduced into Star Wars, there was a lot of gossip on the set about this and about that, and about mainly Carrie Fisher and how many people she'd been in bed with on the set, apparently. And this, when this kind of comes up in the interview, I'm not going to show it because there's some swear words in it, and I don't think I need to put that up on my channel. So this is what he says about that when it's brought up in the conversation. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, I don't care what people are, if they are effing each other or if they're sucking each other, whatever they're doing, that's fine with me. I don't care.
Oh, that's an image I'll never get out of my brain. Ah.
What? Ew. I Billy. Can I call you Billy? Bill. You're 82 years old. You know what I don't want to hear you talk about? Oh, good Lord, I made an okay sign. I must be white supremacist. What I don't want to hear from you is anything referring to sex. I don't want to hear you talking about effing or sucking or... What? No. What?
Are you sure?
Does this look unsure to you?
No.
Good. Now go spread the word.
One, talk about classless. I mean, here you're supposed to be this 82-year-old, big time actor with a long career, all this stuff to your credit. And really, this is how you decide to talk about this subject? You couldn't be a little bit more discreet? You couldn't have a little bit more decorum? You had to, I mean, this is what I mean when I say I feel like this is just his cry for relevance. Ew. Don't ever. That's like having your grandpa give you the sex talk. No. No. Put it down. Walk away from the sex talk. You're not allowed. Nobody wants to hear you talk about that. You were young once. That's when the time was to do that. Now, no. I had more of a problem with that than the other thing, because he's just trying to be relevant. And instead of doing it by being a statesman-like actor who's got this great career, who doesn't he doesn't have to be relevant now. He's Lando freaking Calrissian. One of the coolest and most amazing characters in Star Wars, a duplicitous character, just like Han Solo, who turns to doing the right thing because he's lost everything. So you don't know whether he's doing it because he has to or because, hey, that's what he wanted to do anyway. It's a great character, and I didn't need you to make these stupid statements to try and ruin it for me. Why is it that actors feel the need to ruin the characters they've created later in life? Why? Why? So that you can have 10 more seconds of fame, get a whole bunch of articles printed about you, so that, those actor, Billy D, he's a him, her, cisgender, but something. We need to cast him in more stuff. We need to make sure he's just working his little 82-year-old butt off. Dude. No. One of the coolest guys that I thought was a great actor just convinced me he's just an 82-year-old has-been who's just desperately seeking for relevance instead of realizing you were already relevant and you didn't need to do this. Sad. That's all this is. It's just sad. So the next thing that I need to talk about with Star Wars, Doomcock. I like Doomcock. He's one of my favorite guys to watch videos on because he's funny and he does a good job. I don't like his live streams quite as much, but I do love his videos. He does a good job. He writes them out. You can really tell he puts a lot of effort into them. They're funny and stuff. But he's been getting a lot of crap because of some leaks that he got given to him by some inside sources, saying that there had been test screenings. Now J.J. Abrams comes out and says, there was never test screenings. We didn't show this to anybody except family and friends. So now everybody's crapping on Doomcock, saying, you're stupid. You put this out there. You're such a liar face. Look, I don't know. This is what I do know. Maybe he was being trolled by somebody inside Disney. Maybe he's trying to have everybody make him look like a fool. Didn't really work when he went from 50,000 subscribers to over 100,000 subscribers thanks to these rumors. So if this was a troll job, worst troll job in history, Disney, you boosted him 50,000 subscribers. What? Talk about having that go wrong. And he was straight up out front with this the whole time. Said over and over and over again in these videos, this is a rumor. I cannot confirm this. But he put the information out there because he received the information. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make him a liar. He was honest about the whole thing. And yet everybody's freaking out. And this is just one side of this leaks thing. And here's my final word on this leaks thing. Maybe they're true. Maybe they're not true. Guess what? On December 20th, we'll know whether they were true, whether they were false. Maybe we'll never know the entire backstory behind the scenes, how many cuts there were, what got added, were there test screenings, were there this. Maybe we'll never know the answers to some of that stuff. Who cares? I keep saying this over and over again, and I feel like I have to do this all the time because of my fellow Fandom Menacers. And I mean, I'm not with the Fandom Menace, but I affiliate with that because their emotions and feelings are most similar to mine. And I find that I agree with most of what they say. But I guess mine is a loose affiliation with them. Because, well, they don't acknowledge me for one.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
So please stop, guys. Please just, I mean, you're not, no, that nobody's going to listen to me. But this every single day, making 100 videos a day about this, about every little detail, every little thing, you sound psychotic. You sound like you're obsessed. And I made a video on this the other day saying, don't do this because you prove them right. You look like trolls. You look like deranged lunatics when you glom onto every little thing and lose your freaking minds on a daily basis about it. Let's wait till the 20th. When this comes out, we'll all know the answers. We'll all learn it together. And then we can talk about it then. What we liked, what we didn't like. Did you hate it? Was it as bad as the review said? But I mean, it's just like they're trying to tank this film before it ever gets out. So that it's just like when J.J. Abrams mentioned them in that interview the other day. It was like they thought they'd been vindicated. This is an absolute win for us. Somebody mentioned us. We're big time now. It's the same thing that Billy D. Williams is doing. It's a desperate plea for relevance. Desperate plea to be noticed. For somebody to say, oh, see, we've got to him. Yeah, maybe you got to him a little bit. But that only works if you become truly relevant by putting yourself in a position where you look like a reasonable person who eventually could be brought in to actually help them fix the problems that they've created with this new Star Wars. But they're never going to come to you if you act like deranged lunatics. You're never going to be allowed to become a true part of the solution or to become a true part of the creation or future creations of Star Wars. Now, that should be the goal of what the Fandom Menace is trying to do. Make themselves relevant enough that Disney pulls them in and goes, okay, guys, we realize you have a huge following, that you have a great big voice and you've got a lot of people listening to you out there. We want to know what you really think. But they're never going to do that if you keep sounding like deranged lunatics and trolls and stuff. You're going to damage your own brand. Now, I watched a video in the Nerd News or something like that today, and he was talking about this. Now, I don't agree with a lot of what this guy says. I don't even know his name. He's trying to start something called the Gray Order, which I think is just goofy. It's just like gray Jedi. Okay, they're not. If they're gray, they're not Jedi. But that's my opinion. But I just don't understand this, like he is right in this regard. If you box yourself into a corner with these antics, like, yeah, you might be relevant to the fans and the people that you directly interact with, but you are never going to be taken seriously by Hollywood in any real capacity other than to be a thorn in their side. What does that accomplish? Do you want to be more relevant and maybe actually get to a point where you might have some say? They might come to you and ask for your input because you've got 500,000 subscribers and you know, between this group and that group and the Fandom Menace becomes a real thing to be reckoned with. But that's never going to happen as long as you guys are acting like deranged, crazy people who can't control yourselves for more than 5 minutes or be even remotely reasonable when a new little clip of the film drops. Come on, guys. Let's help ourselves to be relevant and to become more relevant in the future by not being crazy. Just a thought. And maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I got less than 50 subscribers, and other guys in the Fandom Menace have hundreds of thousands. But I know that I would rather listen to someone who's reasonable and rational than someone who's deranged. And even at Doomcock's most ranty, he still comes off as reasonable and rational most of the time. And he's upfront, he's honest, and stuff like that. And I mean, I got to give a big shout out to Black Angus Reviews. I really like his stuff. He's fair. He's open. He's upfront. He talks reasonably, and I've really been enjoying following his stuff. There's Thor Skywalker is another one that I follow because he is reasonable and rational, and I mean, he really comes off as really well thought out. Now, a lot of the Phantom Menacers come off as really well thought out, but at the same time, they come off a little bit deranged, and that's not helpful to their cause. Not really. And the passion's great. I love the passion. But don't let your passion consume you, because, see, that story never ends well. It doesn't matter whether it's a ring and it's so precious. That kind of passion gets you in trouble, Yeah. Bad. Every story that you've ever heard of where it's an obsessive passion, which is what I've been seeing for about the last month on the Phantom Menace. You're going to end up in a volcano. So, anyway, the last thing I want to talk about is the script that was lost by John Boyega. And another thing that was brought up by J.J. Abrams in that interview. I'm not going to comment directly on that because I have no idea whether J.J. Abrams is full of crap or not, and how much of what he's talking about is spin and nonsense, and I don't even care. Like I said, I'm going to go see the movie when it comes out, and I'm going to say what I really think about it, and that's going to be the end of it for me. And unless it's really horrific, and then, you might see me become the deranged psychotic one, because that's how I felt after The Last Jedi. Wow. But John Boyega, I feel bad for John Boyega, because his character could have been great. It's been crapped on through 2 films. He's the goofy comedy relief. He could have done. I mean, that's John Boyega. I'm sorry that you're in this terrible thing, that your character wasn't done with what should have been done with. Here's the problem. That is the biggest issue with the entire trilogy. There is so much potential with what they were trying to do here, but the way they did it, the acting, how they followed the storyline, all the plot conveniences, all of the irrational stuff, the new force powers that were never force powers, and all this stuff that just got added, and all this horrible political stuff that got shoved into this movie. It was just tragic. So much of a lost opportunity. This really could have been a great series, even with the storyline that they're going with, had they just done it the right way. Had Rey been a real character that wasn't a Mary Sue, had John Boyega's character actually been given a true story arc, had Poe Dameron's character been given a true story arc, other one, he's the best pilot ever, with no reason for why that is. If Han Solo hadn't been stabbed in the chest with a lightsaber and had actually died trying, pushing the button that blew the bombs up that allowed there are so many things they could have done and didn't do any of it, or did it all wrong. Snoke should have been the villain all the way through. The Emperor should not have been brought back. There's no reason the Emperor should have been brought back. He was never going to be brought back, and then they just did because a retard killed him off in the last film just to be that dumb laugh he does. Such a lost opportunity. It really is. That is the biggest tragedy of the trilogy. Such a lost opportunity. Blown to hell and never to be gotten back. They bungled this in epic proportions. Sounds like The Mandalorian's starting to do some good stuff to bring it back, but I'm not watching The Mandalorian, and I won't because I'm not going to get Disney Plus. I may eventually, because my children and my wife are hammering me constantly to get it, but it will not be just to get The Mandalorian. I will not give Disney that win. I will not. I mean, and that's something Black Angus said in his review, and I have to really agree with him on this. All these people who crapped on Star Wars for 2 years, who immediately got Disney Plus. I don't care whether you got it free through Verizon. I don't care whether you took the free trial. I don't care how you got it. You got it. How can you call yourself objective? How can you call yourself not a hypocrite when the second you got the opportunity, you jumped back in and you gave them numbers? Whether you paid them money, you gave them another subscriber, you gave them more watches. You're reviewing this TV show. I get it. You want the views. You want don't want the success on YouTube. You want to feed your subscribers. I get it. But it doesn't make you any less of a hypocrite for just glomming on and just jumping in the first second you got. I mean, I gotta get that video out. I gotta watch the video the moment it drops, and then I gotta run over here, do my camera, and then start recording. So my video is the first one out. Really? You kind of lose your credibility when you do stuff like that, guys. See, that's what I mean. This crazy fanaticism. Just because you're first doesn't mean you're the best. Doesn't mean that your take's going to be the right take. Just means that you are kind of premature. Anyway, and I don't mean to crap on my fellow creators and YouTubers. I have to admit that does seem hypocritical, and it came off as weird to me. It's just like, really? You didn't hold out for 10 seconds? 10 seconds, guys. Could you have waited a week? 2 weeks? A month? Nope. I hate Disney. I got to review their stuff. What? Like I said, I've never called for a boycott. I've never said you should boycott. If I'm going to boycott something, I do it personally, and I might talk about it. But I've always said, I'm going to go see this last movie because I'm going to go see it. And then I'll do a review on it, but that's the end of it for me. Just, guys, please, I'm begging you, let's just calm down, wait for the movie to come out, and then talk about it like crazy all you want. But this speculation and hyperbole and rumor mongering and all this stuff, it really doesn't help us. It, in fact, makes us look bad. And if we ever want to get to a point where we have say in Star Wars or anything entertainment-wise, if we want to save Star Trek, if we want to save all of these great franchises that we all love, if we want to truly save pop culture, like I hear so many of you say, you have to get yourself into a position where you're taken seriously. You're not just a menace. It's a clever name. Not a really good way to actually get your opinions noticed for real. Anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Am I way off base here? Am I not mad enough? Doomcock says stay angry. And I agree with that to a certain extent, but I can't keep up that kind of anger all the time. Let me know what you think. Good or bad. Just be polite. That's all I ask. And we will talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye now.